partners once again. A little business between friends, and always just a step ahead of the law. Always just a step ahead of the law.
Went from Sobriety Mary, and then I worked with Dennis, and then we had to start really our own store, because now Dennis was closed. The feds rated him 94, 95. So now time to go get our own permit, no permit, get our own building, open the doors, let people know we're here. And the city comes and tells you to close, and you say no, and you just stand your ground and see how long you can last. Usually you last in the city for a year before the city can ban to get you out. So we last for a year and find another city to go to and close down and go open up in another city. So we were just trying to stay one step ahead, really trying not to be closed. And every time they closed one, it seemed like 2 or 3 more would pop open. Then the police would go close another 1 or 2, then 3 more would pop open. And then so we did notice that we were kind of getting more open than they were closing. And then I think they started to get a backlog, and now they have to try the cases. And now we were actually just kind of overwhelming them, I think, with nobody not doing this. The more we did it, the more people did it. The more one got closed, the more open. It just kept happening like that. In fact, the last time the feds raided me in 2008, why are you raiding me? And they said, and I said, there's 1,000 stores. There's people opening everywhere. They said, yeah, but they don't have the target on your back. Target's on your back. You're the one that has to do this now. So you have to do what we tell you. You can't make money doing this. You got to get off social media. You got to, I said, what, quit teaching, quit telling? I said, I'm not going to do any of that. So, well, you're going to lose your kids. You're going to jail. You can't get away with this. You can't make money doing this. I said, that don't make sense, because there's 1,000, once again, I went back to, there's 1,000 stores in California. We're going to close every one of them down. I said, okay. Now, they didn't win, but that's how they thought back then. Even as late as 2005, 2008, that was my big raid. I got raided by the feds in 05, 08, and 09. I got raided on 09, the day Obama was inaugurated, on the 20th of January. I was being raided. In fact, their phones got so, Eric Holder's phones got so blown up by people calling in saying, quit raiding cannabis people. Now, Obama came out and said later that I'm changing the law, no longer raid somebody if you don't charge them. So you don't just get to raid them and take their stuff and not charge them. So at least charge them. That came directly from my raid by the feds. That was a raid in 08. I got raided in 05. The first raid was 05. I was down in San Diego with the Purple Coconut. And that's when that 13 stores got raided in San Diego on the same day. And I actually went down there to their offices, the federal offices, and knocked on the door and said, I want my stuff back. I'm not going to give you your stuff back. And then I had a friend that had a camera on behind me. They said, hey, take that camera. Hey, give us the camera. They took the camera. They looked at it. They took the cartridge out, or whatever he was filming on. And then they told us, get out of our building. Sit outside there. We'll bring you your stuff. Because I was there to get my stuff. I wanted my laptop. I wanted my computer. I wanted stuff. So then we had to go outside because we had the camera. And they brought down all my stuff. And they put all the stuff on the bench right next to me. The computer. So they gave us a printer, a laptop, stuff like that. Just office stuff. They probably already went through everything. But we didn't have anything. We were really trying to do things on the up and up. Because with Tony Serra's office, he told me, Ken, you're high profile now. So what you need to do is just make sure you make less money, make sure you pay taxes, make sure you keep a good accounting of everything, so you can show that you're just trying to conduct good business. So I tried to keep that kind of model. The only problem was I had Granddaddy Perk, and I was getting lines around the corner, and a lot of money was coming, and a lot of money was going up north. A lot of money it's kind of hard to keep track of it just by yourself when they make you just deal with cash and keep it in a box and keep it at your store and take a lot up north. And then we get stopped a few times. I've had a few of my drivers stop, they take everything away. We go to court, they get to keep it, we drop the case. And that played out a lot. But So going from surrounding Mary to Dennis, the next wave was that's when I was selling outside. When Dennis Chrome closed, I was selling right outside there. And I said, well, I'm going to go to my house. Then at my house, I was blown up. I got robbed. So that's when I said, okay, we got another spot in Berkeley. And that was where the brick house started. And it's on University Avenue, 16 something University Avenue. And we had that building open, which I was able to get in with Berkeley, get a license with Berkeley, the 3 people that had license. And I was there I got robbed 3 times in 3 years. And the city had me go into a special meeting with them saying, if you're going to keep getting robbed, you cannot stay there. Do you have cameras? I didn't have the money to put up cameras, but I'm going to. Well, you said that last time. I said, I know, I'm still trying to. It's kind of expensive. Do you have a guard? No, I just hired a guard. And so I just wasn't doing things fast enough. And I'm not even sure why the criminal world was robbing me. I think I was just, because you know what? I didn't have a lot of infrastructure in place. I just had one building, the walkway there, you could park right on the outside of the street, so we were kind of a sitting duck. In fact, the police were parking their cars across the street, and that day we got robbed, the 3rd time when I finally said, you know what, I'm leaving here. And I told Berkeley, look, I'm going to give up my license. I'm going to go to Oakland. I have a building there. I'm going to be right next to the 3rd floor, right there on the Telegraph. And then I found the Granddaddy perp. So I moved to Oakland. I had the perp and lines around the corner. So everything turned around. It looked really good. And this was part of being an activist, was opening up a store, fighting it, getting your license, and trying to stay in a city. Because they always seem to have people against you, whether it's a neighbor, so you got to see if you can withstand the complaints in front of the city council, complaints from in articles. They might find somebody who's against you. Like we had the Ifshin guy. Ifshin is a violin teacher in Berkeley whose store was across the street from mine on University Avenue. And he did a horrible article in the paper about me. He was complaining to the city council about me because I had so many customers that they took all the parking spots on this side of the street and on the other side in front of his store. So he was mad. But these are kind of little battles you have to fight being an activist. And then you get articles written about you and they're negative. Like one article was devil in a wheelchair. Ken thinks he's in Berkeley bringing marijuana, but he's bringing the worst of it here. It's like, oh, how do you get to do an article like that? It wasn't true at all. But it was based on the Ifshin guy who was, trying to paint this negative picture so he can. But because city council was so in favor of cannabis, they were like, don't worry about it, Ken. You have your license. And I was thinking, is this guy can ruin it for me? I know one guy can ruin it for you sometimes, especially if one person has pool. So fighting that fight, then in Berkeley, I wound up leaving and going to Oakland. Then I started going, and all this time we're all going to meetings and we're all going to protest in San Francisco. I mean, there's pictures of me at the San Francisco protest holding a sign saying, it's my medicine or whatever, and then just rocking it like that and just holding it up. You did a lot of stuff like that. A lot of protests, just holding signs, getting out there, TV cameras, you being interviewed. I always try to keep everything I said quick and short. Just I'm a patient and a spinal cord injury, and it really helps me. I always had to set things I said. We went to city council meetings whenever they dealt with our issue, from Concord to Berkeley to Walnut Creek to Alameda to San Jose to, there's always these different times when the different counties were. And so we go there and speak in front of city councils and explain the cannabis and medicine. And that really helped us. So this was all that stuff we had to do all the time. In fact, there was one time, I remember one year, I had 4 cases going at the same time. From my child custody case to 3 other cases where I got raided. And one of my drivers got pulled over. But anyway, you just kept piling up cases. And so you had to fight it because you had the Medical Necessity Act and you were trying to help other patients get it. Because if other patients can't get it and you can help them get it, then you have that right too. So it was all like that. It was just constant fighting, constant challenging.